Good afternoon now. Grandmother clock is chiming. Must be time to talk about keto. Hi, I'm Casey Durango of Go Keto with Casey, where I like to talk about how I've lost 97.4 pounds since starting the ketogenic diet and how you may be able to lose weight, improve your health, and regain control of your life, as did I. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your Saturday. Today's topic is actually just kind of an open topic about success beyond the scale. Please chime in with a question or a comment if you are so inclined. And I'm going to tell you a couple of things that are my observations. I am not a medical doctor. I am not a researcher. I'm not a PhD. I'm a former fatty who had kind of given up, I'd given up on the idea of losing weight. I'd been very, very round for a very long time, and 30 years. And I just had tried to lose weight and it was unsuccessful. So I gave up on the idea of losing weight and decided, because I knew my number was going to be up, I didn't want to take insulin for type 2 diabetes, and I was on the track for that. So in the process of researching how to not take insulin for type 2 diabetes, I came across the classic white coat video of Dr. Eric Westman. And at that time, he just called it the no starch, no sugar diet. And he's from Duke University, and it made sense to me. So I started the very next time I put food in my mouth, I left off the carbs. And it was a revelation. My entire world changed. So wanting to spread the word about that. Hey, Nancy writes, thank you for showing up for us. And Lita Newman writes, thanks for the live. I do want to quickly address something, and it actually ties into the beyond the scale. You know, it's great to lose weight. Losing weight, body fat is so important, not only to our self-esteem, but to our health, to our overall well-being, to our mobility, to how we view the world and how the world views us. It's not an insignificant thing to lose weight and body fat. It's not necessarily the most important thing. There are things about me that have changed. There might be things about you that have changed that are not part of the scale. Things like reduced inflammation in our joints, and not because we weigh less, but because we're less inflamed. Coming off of asthma inhalers, getting our cranium back in full working fettle. Mood regulation, all these types of things. But I'm going to be a little bit personal here, and I've already done this with my patrons. I did this on a patron only live stream yesterday. I want to talk about something. It's fairly personal, but I'm going to move on to general. One of the things that goes along for me with the benefits of this life-changing experience is that I value myself more. For years, I devalued myself. It's not just that I didn't puff myself up. I devalued myself. I felt unworthy. Unliked a lot of times, that was all in my own head. Sometimes unloved by anyone, which I know is not correct. But I didn't feel worthy, and I devalued myself. I treated much of the world and my acquaintances as if I was so grateful that they were doing me the huge favor of allowing me to be in their sphere, that I wasn't full of self-confidence. I think I outwardly appeared to be self-confident, but I wasn't. Hey, Vicki from Southeast Washington. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, on this very spot, I shared that I was going to be cutting back on my YouTube live streams on Saturdays. I don't believe I said I was going to stop. I said I was going to cut back because I'm quite busy. I just got back last weekend. I was on the West Coast. I do have a life, and that the main focus of my time goes to patrons. Love my patrons. Patrons pledge every month, and they get patron-only content. And that is a priority for me, that I would continue to provide public content, but I was scaling back. Most people were supportive. A couple of people, not so much. You know, sell out. Is this a ploy? Well, you just want to get more money. Don't you make money off of everyone? And I thought, you know what? I do value myself more now to take ridiculous comments like that to heart. I didn't take them to heart. I did respond to them because they were off the wall. But we do need to value ourselves. And we do need to stand up for ourselves. And we need to make our decisions based on what we think is the right thing to do at that time. Maybe we make the wrong decision. But we need to have the strength of our convictions and our ideas. So I just wanted to put that out there. First of all, I wanted to correct if I left with the idea that I was, and frankly, there are 1.5 billion channels available to watch. Seriously. I'm not a special snowflake. So there are lots of voices out there. For me and for my family and for my patrons and taking care of my chickens, and I have a life which I like living. The whole point of feeling better and getting healthier is to be able to live your life, right? I like living my life. And that my life does not revolve around a webcam and a microphone. I live my life, and we all should. I suggest everyone step away from the glowing screens and live life. Do yourself a little test. Go somewhere like for 15 minutes without your cell phone. Forget about not looking at it, which most people just do all this time. You're walking their dogs, walking their kids, pushing a stroller, and they're doing this. Step away. Okay, now moving on. Enough about me. Beyond the scale, I hear so many stories. I bet you have experienced them yourself. You've heard stories. Amazing stories. People who applied for jobs they wouldn't have applied for before because they didn't have the self-confidence. They didn't feel like they'd be taken seriously when they weighed, dropped my paper, when they weighed 45 pounds more. And they didn't want to be rejected. People who've applied for jobs and gotten the jobs and are flourishing in the jobs. People who re-entered the dating scene, did the brave thing and found somebody. People have literally gotten back on the horse. Loved riding horses, stopped riding horses, back on the horse after 20 years. People who thought they couldn't have children. And then you got a keto baby coming. Women with PCOS who get pregnant happily. Very little to do with the scale, It's all about our internal chemistry. And that goes beyond blood sugar and triglycerides and HDL. It has to do with our moods, our energy level, our clear thought. I don't say that the scale doesn't matter. If we are putting on weight, more than fluctuations, weight will fluctuate. A fluctuation is one thing. 15 pounds is not a fluctuation. That is putting on weight. I would say 10 pounds is not a fluctuation. That's putting on weight. So if you're going in the wrong direction, or you're still quite large and just can't seem to lose, not can't seem, I don't like that, but you're not losing weight, I do think it makes sense to step back and honestly examine what's going into our mouths. Because ultimately, energy intake matters against energy outgo. So I'm not saying that, it's a free-for-all. Weigh whatever you want to weigh as long as you can tell yourself you're happy. If you can, great. Many people are happy in their bodies no matter what their size, and that is really good. I'm talking to people who are not happy inside their own skin. I'm not all about body shaming. I'm not all about we all have to be fit and trim to be worthwhile, happy, productive human beings. But there are victories beyond the scale. Let's think of a few. I wrote a blog post yesterday, and I'm starting a series beyond the keto, beyond the scale. First one was crossing your legs. I was so happy the first time I looked down and realized I'd actually crossed my legs. Right? I mean, I hadn't been able to do that. Things like being able to sit in plastic lawn furniture without fear of it breaking. I just traveled. Air travel. You know, there are people in our group who have gone, you know, I have a series of people who've taken photographs of not only not needing a seatbelt extender in the aircraft, but they have excess seatbelt. Those things. Yes, technically it has to do with the scale because you weigh less, but it's the things that keep you going. If you didn't have a scale in your house, these things would turn you on. And maybe we don't need to weigh so much. I do recommend maybe, you know, make weighing on the scale the last thing. I do weigh myself every day, but I have since December 18th, 2000. It's part of my life, but it doesn't run my day. As I said yesterday, my weight is off the table as an issue in my life. And I never thought that would be the case. I thought about my weight every day since puberty. And I bet many of you have as well. Can anyone share? Now, you guys might be talking to each other, and I really like that. I am going to give a plug for my patrons. Oh my gosh. If I get some more, you're such a sellout comments, then so be it. You know, there's always just click on to the next video. This is a good life thing anyway. If you don't like what someone is saying or writing, move on. That's okay. We don't all agree on everything. And if your public handle has your part of your name as doo-doo, I'm not going to take you that seriously anyway. Let's just face it. That's silly. Hey, Nancy. Casey, thanks for accompanying us on our journeys. You help more than you will ever know. I'm grateful for any time you have to share with us. Thanks. Oh, okay, I didn't mean to read one that has me in there. Okay, thank you. Pooh Bear. Oh, thank you, Nancy. I appreciate the words. Pooh Bear's beautiful goddess. The things that have changed for me, knowing nutrition and how I can get it to work for me, getting healthy and happy, taking control of my life. Control is a big issue. My best-selling t-shirt and mug. Food is not the boss of me. That control, because when we have felt victimized by food for years, and I don't think that's putting it too dramatically. You know, people say, food is love, food is joy, food is happy. Food was punishment for me. I rarely enjoyed eating. I ate a lot, but I rarely enjoyed it because it made me feel gross and ugly and like a pig and weak. I'm not saying that overweight people should have any of those descriptors. I'm saying how I felt about me. Food is not love to me. Love is love. Food is fuel. And I never thought I'd be at that point either. Okay, I'm going to thank you. Lisa Newman. Oh my God, that darn scale used to make or break my day for decades. Yes. And this is a thing. If you find that an inanimate object, which you paid money for, you own it, by the way. You actually literally own it. It is your object. If it is ruining your day, stop using it. If it is a tool that does not serve you, does not help you get to where you want to be, stop using it. If it's a tool that does help, if it informs your decision making, great. You know, everyone from insurance actuarial tables to our medical doctors to magazines want it to be about, to apps, want it to be about a number on a scale. Don't let an app tell you how big you should be, how much you should weigh, and how much you should eat. Honestly. You don't even let your mama tell you how much to eat. Don't let an app do it. I know my kids don't let me tell them how much to eat. I don't get a vote on what anybody eats. Okay, Lisa P. writes, yes, I love this series talking about the lifestyle changes of life changes. Thank you. Love being a Patreon and supporting someone I believe in. Thank you, Lisa. I was not looking for a plug, but I appreciate that. And Pooh Bear's Beautiful Goddess writes, I love crossing my legs. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's not always good for me. They say you shouldn't cross. I've gotten to the point where I can cross my legs and then go back over and cross my ankles back. And they say it's not really great for your back or your circulation, but I love doing it. Here's another thing I love doing, getting my fingers around my wrists. I do that compulsively throughout the day. I can almost predict how much the scale will read based on this every morning. Vicki from Southeast Washington. Hey, Lisa P. Lita writes, I only weigh once a week. I used to weigh like twice a day, really, because now we're weighing poo and pee and who the heck knows what else. Some perspiration that has not yet been released out to the atmosphere. Dawn, and I'm not going to, I take pride in being able to pronounce people's names properly, and I don't want to mispronounce it. Dawn Frerich. Good point, ma'am. The scale is a tool. It is. And maybe you don't need to weigh every day unless you think something's going on, good or bad. I don't take my temperature every day unless I have a fever and I want to know what it is. Hey, can't wait. Smells great, Keto. Looking forward to seeing you at your meetup again. For those of you, I'm in Greensboro, North Carolina. I have a meetup at Wine Styles. It's a wine tasting station at Friendly Center, the second Monday of the month, 6:15-ish to whenever. You don't have to purchase anything. I don't collect email addresses. It's just informational, hang out, and half price wine by the glass. Also, I am now again doing the moderating the meetings with Dr. Eric Westman, the Durham support group meetings in Durham, North Carolina, at the Durham Hilton near Duke. Those are the first Tuesday of every month. The buffet dinner starts about 5:30, so you want to go and get that started so you're not doing that during the talk. And Dr. Westman generally starts talking around 6:30 till 8. And I'm so happy to be back doing those. Can I tell you? I missed it. Bobby wrote something, so I don't know what she wrote, but Alicia MC 71 writes, Bobby, do you track? I stopped tracking a few months ago and my weight loss slowed and then stopped. I started again yesterday and was shocked to see my carbs at 38 grams. Back to tracking. I never did track the M word. If any of you have listened to me, you know what the M word is. But I did track carbs at the beginning because I had to learn what 20 grams of carbohydrate total, not net, looked like. And Alicia is absolutely correct. You can absolutely have carb creep. You think you're on top of it. And it just gets away from you. Spive21, I'm a 48-year-old male. How's it going for you? And thank you. There are gentlemen among us. As a matter of fact, I've had many men come to my meetups, which is, and some of them, my wife's not into it. I'm doing this, which is interesting. It goes against the general demographic one would expect. Eva Ken, hey, Casey, hello back. And Domer, I don't weigh myself either. I will eventually, or when needed, like at the doctor. I track my progress in other ways, the way my clothes fit or look, measurements, etc. Really, and y'all, you've heard this before. Losing inches without losing ounces is a definite thing. And I know that my body is remodeling even now. I've been essentially weight stable for over 2 years. I would love to lose 2.6 more pounds so that I can say I've lost 100 pounds since starting the ketogenic diet. I'm actually 115 and a half pounds off of my heaviest, which was, I don't know when that was. I must have been about 40. It was in my 40s. I'm 61. But I'd like to be able to say that. But it's an arbitrary number. But I've been essentially weight stable for over 2 years. But I think I'm laying on some more muscle tissue. We've been doing, we have an suburban farm here. We now have 24 chickens. And so we've been a hauling and a pulling and a hoisting. And out today already, I was hauling granite chunks for their grit and doing things. So Bodies remodel. Plus, I'm getting older, so my body's going to remodel in ways I probably don't like anyway. What am I going to do about it? Not grow older? P.S. So happy found you. And enjoy your candor. Thank you. You know, it's the only way to be, right? Be true to yourself. Quesidia Cedrone. Is it Cedron or Cedrone? Hi, Casey. Can we drink wine? Yes. Dry wines and spirits are okay. Now, here's what happens. When you consume alcohol, your liver must kind of stop everything else and process that alcohol as if the alcohol was a toxin, because it is. So essentially, what happens is imagine it's hitting the pause button on fat burning, but it does not kick you out of ketosis. I was part of a tiny, tiny, tiny trial. The impact of alcohol on ketosis, spoiler alert, there isn't one. But, you know, if you don't drink now, don't start. And too much alcohol is never a good thing. If for no other reason, it can lower our inhibitions. And then we're starting to look for the beer nuts. So, yes, but you can. Dry wines, red or white. Spirits, as long as they are either straight up alcohols, you know, neat, on the rocks, or if you use mixers, make sure they're zero carb mixers. My favorite, when it's made well, my favorite cocktail is a martini. And there is I've repeated this oftentimes, it's attributed to Dorothy Parker, a great wit from the 1930s, who is said to have written or said, I love a good martini. 2 at the very most. 3, I'm under the table. 4, I'm under the host. But I do like a good martini and a Manhattan. And I like one. But now it's really, really, really hot this summer. Gin and diet tonic water. Remodeling, excellent. Pooh Bear's beautiful goddess. I'm doing great and losing. And how do I get rid of my spare tire? You know, spare tire is adipose tissue, I'm going to guess. Unless you're talking about pure hanging excess skin. Now, I will tell you, I have crepey skin. I'm 5'1". I would have expected to have more hanging skin. If someone had said you're going to lose about 100 pounds, I thought, well, I have to save up for skin removal surgery. I don't need it. I have crepey skin, but I was going to have a crepey tummy anyway. 5'1", 3 kids. Second one was a 10-pounder. I've had a hip-to-hip hysterectomy to treat an invasive cancer. What else? And I'm 61, so there. But I lost normally. I was a gradual loser, normal loser. I lost 47 pounds the first year, which is on average less than a pound a week. And it took, the next 2 years for me to lose the next 50 pounds. So there you go. And I have no idea what had anything to do with it. People will say, what's autophagy? I don't fast. Don't believe in it. Other people do it. Works great for them. It's just not something, it's not a tool which I employ. Here's how I follow it. For those of you who don't know, 20 grams of carbohydrate a day, total, not net. And frankly, most days today I'm at 2. And that's probably where I'll stick because I just don't eat many vegetables. Eat fatty sources of protein. I have a brisket on the big green egg right now. A beef brisket, slow cooking. Don't eat if you're not hungry and stop when you're satiated. Now, the don't eat if you're not hungry, for me, can mean sometimes I'll have 2 or 3 plates of fuel a day. I don't even call them by their meal names. I don't even call it food sometimes because it's so highly charged and I don't track calories. Another emotionally charged word. But I don't believe in not eating if I am hungry. It just doesn't, arbitrarily not eating or arbitrarily eating don't make sense to me. Our bodies are telling us what it needs. We should listen. Okay. Let me see. I'm so glad that you guys are talking to each other. Kim Schmidt writes, my mom, Joanna, 77 and loves you. She's convinced keto works. She's sitting here with me. Hello, Kim's mom. It does work. And age is irrelevant. It works. And so, I am so grateful that I made this change. I would have, if I had been where I was 30 years ago in my mental space and made the change, that would have been awesome too. But I don't go back and double guess, because if everything that I'm doing right now and all the joy and happiness and good feelings and contentment with my life is a result of all the things that came before. So I wouldn't be the person I am, in the place I am, doing what I'm doing right now, if things hadn't played out just the way they did. Hi, Rachel. Rachel Stewart. Hi, Casey. You've been my inspiration since the beginning of my keto journey. That's such a nice thing to say. 20 days in and I feel so much happier and energetic. Won't step on the scale, but measurements are going down. Rachel, that's perfect. And it looks like from your avatar that you are a youthful person. Can I say, I'm older, but I heard from someone who's doing this with their 17-year-old son. How brilliant of that 17-year-old to go swim against the tide of probably all of his peers and getting in front of his health. He might save himself decades of chronic feeling gross, weight, pending type 2 diabetes, pending high blood pressure. And let's not forget, Alzheimer's in many circles is now referred to as type 3 diabetes. It is a chronic progressive condition that many people feel is carbohydrate driven for those who have insulin resistance. That's a whole other topic. Low Carb San Diego just got back, and the two takeaways were: don't sweat about LDL cholesterol, just don't worry about it. And insulin is the key. Insulin resistance is what all of this boils down to. Some people are insulin sensitive, which is great. Some people have perfect pitch, which is great. Some people have one blue eye, one brown eye. How cool is that? But most of us are not any of those things. Most of us either are or eventually will be insulin resistant. So we talk about that more. I'm going to give another plug for Patreon. For those of you who don't know, Patreon is a closed group, mine is anyway, where from $2 a month pledge up to whatever, you get everything from, I do 20 videos called snippets a month at the $2 level. Every month I do 20, they're 8 to 15 minutes long, sitting at my kitchen table, pre-makeup, sometimes pre-coffee, sometimes pre-realistic thoughts in my head, in a private forum on Discourse for patrons only, all the way up to patron-only live streams, to patron-only video group sessions, to monthly one-on-ones with me, and some other fun stuff, and discounts for swag. Oh, I have a new thing. I have a store I'm so excited about on Teespring. Let me see if I can pull that up for you, where I get to create. I'm nothing fancy. I'm not a graphic artist or anything, but I do enjoy doing it. I've made some T-shirts and mugs and things, and I don't do the fulfillment. I have swag on my blog, but this is not about that. This is something separate, but I do enjoy making this stuff. So I did one like Keto Strong T-shirts, and I'm going to make some more stuff and some mugs and some different things, and I'll keep doing it. I have one that's about chickens, the perfect keto creature, because I'm all about chickens now. Darla Olteen writes, I feel pretty good now. Don't want to blow it now because, in all caps, food is not the boss of me. Yes. Okay. Debbie Doctor writes, Darla, that's amazing. I'm also 64, but I'm gonna call you on the carpet a little bit. You're right. I'm also 64, but only down 40 pounds since last year, but slow and steady. Around Go Keto with Casey, we have certain things that we don't say and certain things we use different words for. We have eliminated the word only from a sentence like that. When did you think you'd be down 40 pounds? If you had put on 40 pounds, Debbie, if you'd put on 40 pounds, would you say, I only put on 40 pounds in the last year? No. You'd be looking to jump off a bridge or something. Judy writes, I do love the morning snippets. They get me going. I love broadcasting Go Keto with Casey on Swag. Thank you, Lisa. Oops, my bad, writes Debbie. No worries. Things like, because we do that, right? We say, I've only done this. Or we'll say, I've lost 40 pounds. I have a long way to go. Like, God forbid anyone should think we're proud of our achievement, you know. God forbid anyone thinks that we don't know that we have more weight to lose. If someone says, wow, you look great if you lost weight, you know, I did this at the beginning. Say, yeah, but I've got a long way to go. I changed that because, for one thing, it makes the person who's just given the compliment self-conscious. They've given you a compliment. So I changed it to, thank you, I feel great, which is the whole point, right? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, can't wait, smells great. My doctor, Debbie writes, my doctor is very happy with my results and I definitely feel so much better. No more inflammation. Has anyone here converted their medical provider? Because people have. Okay, Lola M writes, I struggle getting started while hosting or attending gatherings. I know I should make a simple meal plan and stick to it for 2 weeks. Then I can continue. Love your channel, XO. Lola from Canada. You know, we do put pressure on ourselves when other people are involved, but if you had realized that you needed to abstain from alcohol and you were hosting an event, would you just say, well, I'll go back to abstaining from alcohol after this event? No. You can provide for your guests as they will eat, and you can eat what you're going to eat or not eat at all if you're not hungry. But also, many people have reported that they have put out perfectly keto-friendly spreads. No one even knows. No one notices what's not there, and they love the foods. I mean, something as simple as a crudité, an olive and cheese plate, deviled eggs, hard meats cut into cubes with toothpicks in them, and a ranch dressing dip. Very few people are going to complain. Gail Sevenless writes, 74 years old, down 40 pounds and off all meds. Again, beyond the scale. Off all of your medications. My husband and I, he's younger than I, but I'm 61. He's a little bit younger than I. Neither of us take any medications. You know, we all have friends that take a handful a day. Liz Plobman writes, my doctor asks me all the time about keto. You know, I will tell you, Liz, if he reaches out to Dr. Eric Westman at Duke, Dr. Westman, I can't speak for him. He's very generous with his time, and he has many doctors who travel to Duke and shadow him for a day at his clinic. Many, many, many times that has happened. And when they start seeing it in front of their very eyes and hear from the patients. And Dr. Westman has always said this is going to be a grassroots, bottom-up change. It's going to have to come from patients teaching their doctors. Okay, I'm looking. Lita writes, I'd love to be off all my meds, but some are for lupus and fibro. Now, Lita, there is a woman in our Patreon group who is off of her meds for lupus. And some people, in that, of course, every situation is different. But she's a nurse. She knows of what she speaks. Hey, Jane. Hey, Jane, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. And Lola writes, you're right, of course. It's easier to host. Thanks for addressing my comment. Oh, of course. Okay. Lita writes, I'm 1,000 times better. No, 100,000 times better since keto. That's good. Okay, I'm going to start to wind down here. Thank you so much for showing up and allowing me to be part of this. To confirm, as my schedule and energy level allows, I will continue to provide public content between my blog here. I don't do Facebook Lives anymore. Technically, it was just not something I enjoyed doing. And frankly, I don't want to give Facebook any more traction. I do want to give a plug for our cruise, the Go Keto with Casey cruise to Alaska. And you may or may not know, Dr. Eric Westman and Amy Berger of Tuit Nutrition are going to be there. We might have one other special guest. It's going to be great, but this will be really about the attendees and the stories. It's going to be fun. You can find that information at my blog. And I'm going to just give you this right now. And there are several people looking for, all the links also are below here, looking for cabin mates, several people. And we have about 78, possibly 80 people already kind of signed up. So it's going to be fun. Okay, Vicki shares, almost 60 from Southeast Washington, almost 65, off my asthma meds now, and Dr. lowered my thyroid meds. She said it is evidence that keto improves thyroid function. Fantastic. And you've been on those meds a long time, right, Vicki? And have you noticed any difference since now you've been off the inhaler for your asthma? Vicki's part of our group, and she has shared that she's sticking with it, but she's been a while since the scale has moved, but she does have an asthma inhaler with steroids, which can impact. Oh, Lita, thank you so much. I appreciate that for the super chat. That is very kind of you. Hey, Colin, also for now, you're in Oregon or Washington, Colin? Texas native, thanks for the live stream. Thank you. Yay for the cruise. I am matching up cabin mates. Good. Oh, and also another thing, if you have a friend, a spouse who says, I'd like to do it, but I'm not on keto, I don't want to do it, they can come and be part of our group and get the group perks, things like cocktail parties and champagne left in the cabins if they're part of the group. So book through Lisa as part of the group. You don't have to be keto. You're not, and none of us are joined at the hip. But then you never know where they might. We're going to be a fun group. This is going to be we had a lot of fun in March. A lot of fun. So it's going to be a really good time. I'm very much looking forward to it. Wow. And Vicki writes, 35 years, same thyroid disease. Feel great. That's fantastic. 35 years worth of medications. 35 years. Just let that hang in the air for a minute. And now coming off of them. Fantastic. I'd love to go, but we still have little ones. Get a sitter, honey. If you have little ones, you deserve a break. Yeah, bring on the non-keto folks. Everybody benefits. Absolutely. If they want to get a group perk and they want to book an Alaska cruise, we're not going to count heads and see who showed up at the presentations. Okay. Last one. Mona Tufan writes, thank you for all personal experience. I'm in my 4th month of keto. I lost 8 kilograms and almost cured my fibroid problem. I had to have an operation, but now there is no need for that. Wow. That is so fantastic. That is fantastic. Okay, guys, on that note, operations not being needed, medications coming off, beyond the scale for sure. So thanks. I will check in with you next time. Thank you to all you patrons who show up. Check out the cruise information, and y'all be sweet. Just remember this: if I can do this, look at my before photos at my blog, and none of those were my heaviest weight. If I can do this after 30 years of morbid obesity and having given up, you can do this. I promise. Okay? Thank you. Be sweet. Take care of yourselves. TTFN.